Unlicensed motorcyclist killed in Den Amstel accident. An 18-year-old unlicensed motorcyclist, Finity Miggins, tragically lost his life on Sunday night after a reckless maneuver on the Den Amstel public road, West Coast Demerara, WCD. The accident occurred just after 2100 hours HRS when Miggins, a promising footballer, overtook several vehicles. Following this attempt, he reportedly lost control of the motorcycle and fell onto the road surface. He was rushed to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. The incident has raised concerns about road safety and the dangers of riding without a proper license. 14 cases made against drivers exceeding the speed limit. Corporal 21843 James and Constable 24753 Harmon conducted a speeding exercise on Diamond Public Road, East Bank Demerara, on February 1, 2025. During this operation, 14 traffic cases were made against drivers who exceeded the speed limit. This initiative aims to enhance road safety and ensure compliance with traffic regulations. Diamond resident charged for narcotics possession. Fined $297,000. Andra Dundas, a 31-year-old resident of Block X Diamond Housing Scheme, East Bank Demerara, was arrested on January 31, 2025, and charged today, February 3, 2025, with possession of narcotics for the purpose of trafficking, specifically 110 grams of cannabis. The charge was laid pursuant to Section 5(1)(a)(I) of the Narcotics, Drug, and Psychotropic Substances Control Act, Chapter 1010. Dundas appeared today at the Diamond Golden Grove Magistrates Court No. 1 before Magistrate Wanda Fortune. After the charge was read to him, he pleaded guilty and was fined $297,000. Additionally, he was sentenced to 8 months of imprisonment. Police are investigating fatal accident at Timehri. Police are investigating a fatal accident that occurred today, Sunday, February 2, 2025, on the public road at Timehri, East Bank Demerara, resulting in the death of 25-year-old Suresh Singh. The accident involved motorcar, number PAG 9078, driven by Singh, a resident of Hill Foot, Soesdijk Linden Highway. Motor lorry, number GAD 8492, driven by Terry Duff, a 45-year-old Trinidadian. Inquiries revealed that the motorcar was traveling south along the public road at a high speed around 6:30 HRS this morning. Allegedly, the driver lost control of the vehicle, veering into the path of the northbound lorry. As a result of the collision, both vehicles sustained extensive damage. Singh sustained serious injuries and was subsequently picked up by public-spirited citizens, who placed him in a passing vehicle escorted by the police to Diamond Diagnostic Center. Unfortunately, he was pronounced dead on arrival by Dr. Single. The body of the deceased was escorted by police to Memorial Gardens Funeral Home, awaiting a post-mortem examination. A breathalyzer test was conducted on the truck driver, showing no trace of alcohol in his system. A notice of intended prosecution has been prepared and served to the truck driver, who is currently in custody assisting with the investigation. Police issues statement on deadly Land of Canaan car crash. According to police reports, Joel Sutherland was a passenger while Ronaldo Gordon was the driver in a tragic car accident that occurred on the Land of Canaan public road. The victims were only 22 and 23 years old, respectively. Full police statement. 2 lives lost on Land of Canaan public road after driver lost control of vehicle. Police are investigating a fatal accident that occurred at approximately 2300 hours HRS last night, Sunday, February 2, 2025, on the Land of Canaan public road, East Bank Demerara, which claimed the lives of 22-year-old Ronaldo Gordon and 23-year-old Joel Sutherland. The accident involved motorcar #pad 7677, driven by Ronaldo Gordon, now deceased, from Lot 354 Timehri North, East Bank Demerara. Joel Sutherland, from Lot 94 Timehri North, East Bank Demerara, was seated in the front passenger seat of the car. Inquiries revealed that the car was traveling north along the western drive lane of the Land of Canaan public road at a high speed when the driver, Ronaldo Gordon, lost control of the vehicle. The car veered into the eastern drive lane and collided with a concrete bridge rail on the side of the road. As a result of the collision, the vehicle sustained extensive damage, and both the driver and occupant were thrown from the vehicle, suffering serious injuries. They were picked up by passers-by and taken to the Diamond Diagnostic Center, where they were both pronounced dead on arrival by Dr. Clemenson. Further investigations are ongoing. 19,000 individuals to be trained for Election Day duties. In preparation for the upcoming general elections, The Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, has been allocated just over $7.3 billion by the Parliamentary Committee of Supply. This funding is essential for ensuring a smooth electoral process this year. During the session, Minister of Governance and Parliamentary Affairs, Gail Teixeira, announced that 19,000 temporary election staffers will be trained as part of the election preparations. A total of $193 million is earmarked for their education and training. This involves training 19,000 individuals for election day duties. The funds allocated will cover the entire training program, Minister Teixeira explained. Additionally, the committee approved $1.8 billion for GECOM's operating expenses and set aside $227.3 million for the rental of necessary buildings. Another significant allocation of $1.114 billion will go towards acquiring goods and services, which includes civic education programs, production of infomercials, and the publication of election-related notices. The budget also accounts for security services required during the elections, particularly at GECOM offices nationwide. Furthermore, $1.7 billion has been approved to cover employment costs, alongside an additional $1.6 billion for wages and salaries associated with the elections. In 2024, the Elections Commission had received $2.9 billion to support its operations. As GECOM ramps up its preparations, the allocated funds are expected to play a vital role in facilitating a fair and efficient electoral process. Man who bought stolen bike freed of charges after compensating victim. Kaider News. A 35-year-old man, Orlando James, walked free from the Georgetown Magistrate Court last Friday after being charged with simple larceny for allegedly stealing a motorcycle valued at $175,000 from Shy Stevens. Acting Chief Magistrate Faith McGusty read the charge to James, who pleaded not guilty. The prosecution detailed that Stevens reported his motorcycle missing and later received a tip that it had been spotted on Camp Street. Upon arriving at the location, Stevens identified James driving his motorcycle toward a wash bay. Recognizing his bike by its identification number, he promptly contacted the police. Officers arrived and arrested James, who initially claimed he had bought the motorcycle from a child but was unable to provide any information regarding the child's whereabouts. In court, James expressed remorse, saying, "I bought the bike from the child. I'm sorry for what I did." However, he later altered his statement, stating that a man had initially asked for $60,000 for the bike, but he only had $40,000, which the man accepted. Stevens testified that when he recovered the motorcycle, it was in poor condition, with damaged brakes and overall faults that he estimated would cost $40,000 to repair. He indicated that he was open to receiving compensation for the damage. James agreed to compensate Stevens, and family members present in court provided the $40,000 in cash to him. Consequently, the case against James was dismissed. Magistrate McGusty took the opportunity to caution James about the risks associated with purchasing high-value items, such as vehicles, without proper documentation. She emphasized the importance of obtaining receipts and verifying ownership to prevent similar legal issues in the future. $395 million approved 4 Men on Mission to build 52 houses. Newsroom. The Men on Mission initiative in Guyana is set to receive a significant boost this year, with a $700 million allocation approved by the Parliamentary Committee of Supply on Monday. Of this total, $395 million will be dedicated to constructing 52 houses for vulnerable individuals across the country. Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Gail Teixeira, provided details on the funding during a session where budgetary allocations for the Office of the President were reviewed. Opposition parliamentarian Volda Lawrence pressed for a breakdown of the funds, and Teixeira outlined various projects supported by the allocation. More than half of the approved budget will facilitate the ongoing construction of 2-bedroom houses, a project that has been in progress over the last 2 years. In addition to housing, approximately $115 million will be directed towards house assistance programs, while $84 million is earmarked for youth empowerment and mentorship initiatives. Other funds will support special observances such as Father's Day, Men's Health Day, and International Men's Day. The initiative, conceived by President Dr. Irfan Ali, has also drawn questions regarding its administrative framework and staffing. In her response, Minister Teixeira indicated that while the project operates under the Office of the President, it is receiving considerable support from the Guyana Defense Force. Throughout the afternoon session, members scrutinized the current and capital spending allocations for the Office of the President. Overall, the office was allocated $12 billion, which also includes funds to support First Lady Arya Ali's various initiatives aimed at assisting vulnerable groups throughout the nation. As the Men on Mission initiative progresses, it aims to make a meaningful impact on the lives of those in need across Guyana. Suspect who allegedly robbed businesswoman at Friendship arrested. Police have arrested a suspect who allegedly attacked and robbed Charmaine Moore, a 42-year-old businesswoman from South Sophia, Georgetown, relieving her of $450,000. The incident occurred on February 2, 2025, at approximately 1400 hours HRS in Friendship, East Bank Demerara, and was reportedly committed by Winston Selman. Inquiries revealed that the victim was supervising the construction of a foundation on a plot of land in Avalon Compound. The contractor requested that she purchase nails. The victim left her workplace in her motorcar, registration number PAH 862, to buy the nails from a nearby supermarket. Upon arriving at Red East Supermarket, she parked her vehicle and went inside. After making her purchase, she returned to her car. While driving onto the main road, she noticed the suspect walking in front of her vehicle and refusing to move. The businesswoman exited her car and insisted that he move aside. At that moment, the suspect ran towards the driver's side, entered the car, and attempted to drive off. The victim quickly opened the front passenger door and jumped inside, repeatedly insisting that he stop the car. The suspect drove into Harry Avenue, Friendship, parked the vehicle, and assaulted the victim, inflicting several cuffs and kicks. He then exited the vehicle, took the car keys and handbag, and fled into a nearby yard. The victim sought help from residents and noticed the suspect holding her brown shoulder bag, which contained the cash. When she confronted him, he refused to return the bag and continued to assault her. Fearing for her life, the victim raised an alarm, retrieved her car keys, returned to her vehicle, and drove away, leaving the suspect behind. Police from the Grove Police Station searched for the suspect. He was apprehended, and a search revealed $18,000, Guyana currency, in his right front pants pocket, along with the victim's brown bag. He was subsequently taken into custody. A statement was taken from the victim, and the incident was reported to the police on February 2, 2025, at 1440 HRS. West Burbus businessman allegedly beaten by road contractor. Guyana Times, a West Coast Burbus businessman, Rajeshvar Arjun, claims he was brutally attacked by a contractor, resulting in severe injuries, including a fractured skull and leg. 7 weeks post-incident, he was reportedly informed that the matter had been settled, leaving him stunned. Arjun, 38, a refrigeration technician residing at 116 Experiment Bath, has expressed frustration over ongoing issues with a contractor upgrading a street in the Experiment Bath housing scheme since November. The contractor's machinery has been blocking access to the eastern half of the street, which Arjun claims has affected his grocery business. On December 20, 2024, after being blocked from entering his street, Arjun inquired about when the truck would be moved. After waiting for 40 minutes, he attempted to record a video of the situation, stating he would send it to President Irfan Ali. This led to a confrontation with the contractor, who allegedly made derogatory remarks about the president. Arjun's wife advised him to leave the situation, but as they were leaving, the contractor allegedly attacked him. "The man rushed up to me and cuffed me in my head," he recounted. In the ensuing struggle, the contractor's son reportedly joined in, stating, "Blood has to shed here," before striking Arjun with a piece of wood. After the attack, Arjun lost consciousness and later regained it at Fort Wellington Hospital, where he learned he had suffered significant injuries. He now relies on crutches to move around. Following the incident, Arjun contacted the investigating police officer multiple times, only to discover that the case had been marked as settled when he visited the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, office. "I never reached the man or any police besides giving the statement," he stated, expressing his disbelief at the outcome. The ongoing blockage of the street has severely impacted Arjun's business, leaving him with difficulties in receiving supplies and affecting his ability to provide for his 4 children. He lamented, "Every day that man is blocking the street. When he is not blocking it with the cement mixer, he is blocking it with the water truck." Efforts to reach Regional Police Commander Michael Kingston for comment have been unsuccessful. Arjun continues to seek resolution and justice for the assault he endured. Man's house allegedly set ablaze by relatives in dispute. Newsroom. In a shocking incident in Best Village, West Coast Demerara, Floyd Halley's home was completely destroyed after it was allegedly set ablaze by 2 of his relatives. The event has left Hallie living in fear and without a place to stay. According to Hallie, the terrifying ordeal began just after midnight on January 25th when he was awakened by the sound of a motorcycle idling outside his house. Upon investigation, he discovered two individuals, whom he later identified as family members, attempting to break into his home. "I heard a commotion outside and saw someone run," Hallie recounted. When the suspects realized he was awake, they demanded he open the door. "In a desperate attempt to call for help," Hallie said, "I tried dialing 911 because I couldn't get through to Vredenhoop police station, so I called one of my neighbors, but the call went unanswered." As he struggled to reach out for assistance, the suspects, allegedly armed with cutlasses, continued their attempts to gain entry. After some time, Hallie managed to connect with a neighbor and explained the precarious situation, only to find that the men had fled on their motorcycle, leaving behind threats. Feeling traumatized, Hallie sought refuge with his neighbor. "When we were talking, I heard a glass bottle breaking," he said, adding that shortly after, he looked out to see flames engulfing his home, with the suspects returning on foot. Hallie described the fear that gripped him and his neighbor as they ducked and hid, unsure of what would happen next. Everything inside his fully furnished house was lost to the fire. Expressing his disbelief, Hallie lamented, "It's my family. We always look out for one another. We don't talk much, but I kept asking what the problem was." He later learned that one of the suspects believed Hallie's home had been occupied by his girlfriend and her sister, a claim Hallie dismissed as unfounded. Now homeless and in constant fear, Hallie is left uncertain about his future and hopes for justice. Regional Commander Mahendra Shinarine confirmed that an investigation is ongoing, with 4 individuals arrested and later released on bail. "We are still looking for the 2 main suspects. Efforts are being made to locate them," he stated. As the investigation continues, Hallie's plea for safety and resolution remains pressing. No bail for vendor charged with assault and disorderly behavior. Qaeda News. A 36-year-old vendor, Molly Clark, was remanded to prison after appearing at the Georgetown Magistrates Court on charges of assault, disorderly behavior, and the use of threatening language. The decision for no bail was made last Wednesday due to Clark's repeated interruptions and disregard for the Chief Magistrate, Faith McGusty. Clark, residing at Lot 564 William Street, Kitty, Georgetown, allegedly committed the offenses on January 28, 2025, at the Albertown Police Station. He is accused of assaulting Dwayne Williams, also of Kitty, and making threats to shoot, cripple, and confine him to a wheelchair. Despite pleading not guilty to all charges, prosecutors objected to bail, citing the severity of the threats and Clark's previous charges. Williams recounted the events leading up to the incident, explaining that he was awakened by a loud explosion. Upon investigation, he found his car's windscreen shattered, with a bicycle nearby. A neighbor informed him that a man in a white t-shirt was seen fleeing the scene. Although nothing was stolen from his car, Williams suspected an object had been thrown at it. After searching the area multiple times, first in his car and then on a motorcycle, Williams eventually spotted Clark, who matched the description he had received. When confronted, Clark fled into Balwant Singh Hospital, where police apprehended him. While at the police station, Williams testified that Clark attempted to hit him and threatened to kill him. "He was sitting on the bench and then threw a brick at me and punched me," Williams stated. Clark, however, interrupted the proceedings, denying the allegations and claiming that he was the one assaulted. "Your Worship, this man came with his motorbike and hit me off my bicycle and started pelting shots at me. I went to Balwant Singh for my own life safety," he claimed. Despite Magistrate McGusty's warnings to remain silent, Clark continued to disrupt the court. In light of his behavior, she firmly denied him bail, stating, "All right, no problem," bail refused. "Nobody wants to hear me." Clark pleaded for leniency, citing his responsibilities to his family and business, but Magistrate McGusty remained resolute. He is scheduled to return to court on February 12, 2025. Woman alleges continuous harassment from ex-boyfriend. Guyana Times. 28-year-old Lenise Alexis has expressed her ongoing frustration and fear as her ex-boyfriend, 32-year-old Jeremy Gordon Smith, allegedly continues to harass and threaten her, months after he was charged with publishing obscene videos of her in July 2024. Despite legal action taken against him, Alexis claims that Smith has persistently shared explicit images of her on social media. She detailed how he has disclosed her address and personal documents, stating, "He is still posting the photos and videos that he would have got from my phone, and putting my number and telling men to contact me via WhatsApp, $15,000. So, I'm doing sexual favors for $15,000. He's putting my address in there. He even dropped my location. Alexis further alleged that Smith accessed her personal documents, including her ID card, driver's license, and passport, during their relationship. 2 weeks ago, he posted, "I don't know how this boy got my ID card," she said, emphasizing her distress over the invasion of privacy. Despite securing a restraining order against Smith, Alexis reported that he continues to threaten her using multiple phone numbers. "He's threatening me by different numbers. Mind you, I have a restraining order against him. He's not supposed to be making any form of contact with me," she stated. Currently, there are multiple cases against Smith in the magistrates' courts. Alexis believes that Smith's continuous harassment is intended to intimidate her into dropping the charges against him. "He's trying to intimidate me, him and his mother especially," she said, asserting her determination to seek justice. "I'm not the first, second, or third woman he has done this to, but I have to be the last. He has to go down." Alexis ended her relationship with Smith due to verbal and physical abuse, and she is now determined to hold him accountable for his actions. Jeremy Smith, a technician from Lot 139 Meadow Brook Gardens, Georgetown, has been charged with 2 offenses related to the unlawful acquisition and publication of Alexis' private electronic data. He was granted bail set at $150,000 and is scheduled to appear in court again. In a related incident, Smith's mother, and Smith, 67, was found guilty of attempting to obstruct justice by hiding her son from police. She was fined $100,000 by Magistrate Annette Singh after being accused of interfering with police efforts to arrest Jeremy Smith. Following her conviction, she faces a 6-month prison sentence if she fails to pay the fine. 2 men convicted for murder of vendor during armed robbery. Justice has been served for Troy Romaglio, a cheese and sausage vendor who was brutally murdered at Borda Market in Georgetown in 2018. On Friday, a jury delivered unanimous guilty verdicts against Akeem Morris, known as Dig Out, and Roy Sandiford for murder in furtherance of a robbery, following nearly 5 hours of deliberation. The courtroom was filled with tension as the verdict was read, with family members of the deceased visibly emotional. This conviction concluded a trial marked by intense arguments from both the prosecution and the defense, alongside shocking revelations regarding the events of that fateful night. On August 15, 2018, around 11:05 p.m., Romaglio was wrapping up his sales at Borda Market when he was attacked. Witnesses reported that Sandiford, armed with a firearm, approached Romaglio's stall and ordered him not to move. Without hesitation, he fired a shot that struck Romaglio in the chest, causing him to collapse immediately. As Romaglio lay bleeding, Morris allegedly rushed over to remove the vendor's jewelry before fleeing the scene with Sandiford and their accomplice, Nia John. The group escaped in a getaway car driven by George Payton, which had been parked nearby. A post-mortem examination confirmed that Romaglio died from hemorrhage and shock caused by a single gunshot wound to the chest. The bullet had entered near the left side of his chest, damaging both lungs before lodging between his ribs. Following the murder, an aggressive police investigation led to the quick arrest of the suspects. Morris was apprehended on August 26, 2018, and subsequently identified in an identification parade. Sandiford was taken into custody days later, on September 1, 2018, and also identified in a police lineup. During the trial, which commenced on January 22, 2025, the prosecution, led by State Counsel Christopher Belfield and Muntaz Ali, presented surveillance footage showing Morris and Sandiford approaching Romaglio's stall and fleeing shortly after the attack. Witness testimonies further supported the prosecution's case. The defense attempted to undermine the prosecution's evidence. Morris, represented by attorney Kishwana Jefford, argued that the identification parade was unfair and claimed he had been home with his 1-year-old daughter during the murder. Sandiford's attorney, Dexter Todd, similarly challenged the identification process and presented alibi witnesses who claimed he was elsewhere during the incident. However, these witnesses struggled to recall details and had not previously reported their information to the police, raising doubts about their credibility. Ultimately, the jury found both Morris and Sandiford guilty. They now await sentencing, scheduled for March 5, 2025, where they could face severe penalties under the law.